People say that if you hang around someone for a long enough time, you tend to become influenced by them. In a way, they're a part of you. For me, this person is Owen. Owen always had to give his 2 cents or a second point of view whenever I made major decisions. It always seemed like he knew much more than I did. Our thoughts were always polar opposites, my north to his south. And yet, despite all of that, I always ended up listening to him for whatever reason. In fact, the majority of this talk will be about Owen, my closest friend and worst enemy. Owen is very aware that I'm here today, so for my sake, I hope he doesn't interrupt. A recurring conversation between myself and Owen was actually about my career decision. He had a lot to weigh in on. He would ask the most grueling questions. What if you don't amount to anything? What if you disappoint your parents? He was right. I needed a career that I could be proud of, but more importantly, I needed a career to make my family proud. Owen suggested that I become a doctor and practice medicine. Naturally, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, come on now. The pay, the prestige, the pompous white coat. What is there not to like? I decided that I wanted to become a doctor for all the right reasons. Well, becoming a doctor is a lot easier said than done. I did my research and everything that was asked of me. I took courses like biology, physics, and the worst one of all, organic chemistry. There's definitely a reason why they call it a weed-out class. Imagine a lecture hall filled with hundreds of students. Each of these students seems so passionate and have everything figured out. I felt like I did not belong, and I felt like I cannot compare to these other students. I couldn't help but feel like I wasn't worthy, and I found myself comparing my own achievements and success to others. I confided in Owen with my frustration, and he had a lot to say. So are you really going to stop now? What about the money? What would your parents say? I didn't know you were such a loser. He was right. Not about the loser part, though. The truth is, I wanted to be better than everyone else. I sought validation, I yearned for praise, and I was hungry for acknowledgement. Becoming a doctor seemed to be the easiest way to achieve those things, but it didn't always feel right. I was stuck, and once again, I confided in Owen. This time around, however, he gave me a different perspective. So say you do become a doctor, and you're rich, and you're successful, but you're unhappy. What about all the other career options that you haven't explored? Are you sure this is the right decision? He was right. During one of these conversations with Owen, I received a call from none other than my parents. They told me that they were very happy and proud of me and that they were taking me home for lunch. When I heard lunch, I was very excited because my mom made the best bún riêu, a Vietnamese rice vermicelli dish, and my father is my role model. They gave me the world, and I couldn't help but feel like I was letting them down. They would have wanted me to become a successful doctor, but I just couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to update them on where I was in my life. I was questioning what I wanted to do. Maybe I didn't want to become a doctor anymore. I was pursuing a career that I thought I wanted to do, but in reality, it was a career to fit in with my friends and for my family's sake instead of my own. My parents would be devastated, but I knew it had to be done. The first logical step was to break the news to my parents, something I was severely dreading. My family is the single most important thing to me, and I owe it to them to become successful. It was my mistake to choose this route for their sake instead of my own. For all they know, I was studying hard every night with a burning passion to become a doctor. And it felt like it would kill me inside to tell them otherwise. Once again, I sought refuge in Owen. He asked me to think about my parents' reaction. He said phrases like, "Are you really going to stop now? You're so close. You need to stop with distractions and focus." Honestly, I think the phrase that I was most afraid of was, "We are disappointed in you." I spent countless hours trying to make sure to prepare myself for the worst. So, after practicing in the mirror for days on end, I finally worked up the courage to sit down and speak my truth. It was nerve-wracking enough to open up and be vulnerable. Now try doing it in Vietnamese. I remember walking downstairs and seeing my parents in the living room watching Paris by Night, a Vietnamese music show. I asked them if we could talk about my future, especially my career. They seemed more than happy to. Well, here goes. Con không muốn làm bác sĩ nữa. I don't want to be a doctor anymore. Quite literally the longest 5 seconds of my life. To my surprise, my parents weren't only supportive, they comforted me. They told me that all they ever wanted for me was the best and that it was my own definition of success. All this time, it was my path to choose, and it wasn't for them. At this time, my mind was blown. I was so appreciative to have such supportive and amazing parents. I felt like a huge burden was lifted from my shoulders, or so I thought. That same night, Owen came to visit, and he had a lot to say about the matter. He said they didn't mean what they said, and that I should continue to become a doctor for the money, for their sake. This time, he was wrong. I now knew that Owen was the problem in my life. He was the one who put the idea of disappointing my parents into my head. He was the one who made me believe that in order to be happy, I needed to become successful as a doctor for some reason. I now know that it was my direction and not anyone else's. I decided it was time to make decisions without Owen. So, despite being 0-1 with my career decisions, I decided to make sure that from now on, I'll be doing what I want to do. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't get any easier from this point on, but I'm working towards something that I'm proud of doing, and that's all I could ask for. For those of you who continue to work hard and already know what you want to be or do, I respect you. I respect your discipline, your drive, your commitment to your passion. And for those of you who aren't quite sure what you want to do just yet, and frankly, maybe even a little lost, I respect you and I see you. I know it can be very hard, but please understand and know that in order to be successful in whatever you want to do, you need to seek help when you need it. You are not alone. In the process of finding you, it is important not to lose yourself first. If there is a single takeaway from this message, it is that in finding your journey and your purpose, you must be able to seek help with those who you care about. For me, it was my parents who supported me along my journey. I am very grateful to have such amazing and supportive parents. However, I do want to be respectful of those who might not have the best relationship with their family. The good news is that people who care about you and who will support you do not necessarily need to be your own blood. There are teachers, mentors, and friends who are more than willing to help you along your journey. The power of vulnerability and speaking up is truly invaluable. If anything, this talk is not a call for help by any means, but a call to action. Now that I've shared with you all a little bit about my experiences with Owen, and that I'm no longer going to become a doctor, I do want to share what I have been doing and how my career is going. To be completely honest, post-grad syndrome hits really hard. However, I am happy and proud to say that I have found my footing at Kaiser Permanente as a product manager. Ironically, when I think of Kaiser Permanente or any other healthcare organizations for that matter, I saw myself there as a doctor. But I am very happy with my decision. And even though my career trajectories are going well, I sometimes do falter and compare myself to other people. Here is where I want to emphasize the importance of individuality. Everyone is in a different stage of their life, and there's absolutely no reason to compare yourself to others. It is very important that you understand comparison is the thief of joy, and I know that a little too well. My direction will always be in a life of happiness. The possibilities are endless, but one thing remains the same. I make the rules here, and it is my journey to take. I will no longer let Owen control my life, and no one can tell me who I am, what I should do, and how I should do things. I'm a firm believer that the journey is much more important than the destination. I hope that in finding your own purpose and along your journey, you remember to seek help when you need it, take care of yourself, and make sure to be optimistic. You never know what might happen, but you always know how to be yourself. And for those of you wondering what happened to Owen, well, he's definitely still around. As much of a burden as he gives me and the severe anxiety with his questions and doubts, I think it is important that he does remain in my life. The reason being is because he also provides me with insight, motivation, and overall a different point of view on everything. So, with that being said, that begs the question, who is Owen and where is he? Turns out Owen was here with us the entire time. And fortunately for me, he did not interrupt. This is Owen, standing right in front of you all here today to speak about his experiences. Owen is my overthinking personified. Owen, my alter ego, a siren of my overthinking, is the reason for all the missed opportunities in my life. He has plagued me for quite some time now, and it is time to put an end to that. He is the reason why there were so many clubs and organizations on campus I never joined, all the jobs and internships that I thought I wasn't qualified for, and that special someone that I didn't shoot my shot with. Well, no longer, because I implore you all here today to go and join that club, go and apply for that job or internship that you're interested in, and go and let that special someone know how you feel. Granted, I can't guarantee that any of those things will go in your favor, but you might as well try. And the funny thing is, sometimes I still falter and wonder what it would have been like if I did become a doctor. Would I be happier? Would I make more money? What car would I be driving? Sorry, that was Owen talking. Overall, please remember that overthinking will end negatively. Or, as I like to call him, Owen. Please make sure to take care of yourself and not overthink things. because you got it. Thank you for your time.